Our Walt Grayson is back with us and has a story to help jumpstart our week about life returning to a ghost town.
And Walt, because of something relatively new, one of Mississippi's oldest towns is beginning to come back to life, right?
Yes. I got to tell you, I've been mesmerized by the tiny little hamlet of Rodney ever since the first time I saw it. But after decades of watching it just fade away, this past weekend I got my first glimpse of its newest set of, I guess you could call them unofficial community members, bringing life back into the little town of Rodney, and they're starting in, of all places, the cemetery. Rodney doesn't even show up on the state highway maps anymore, not even on my more detailed county road maps to take along in the car with me when I travel to do stories. An ignoble state for such a noble town.
I think what makes Rodney special is it was the old southwest of Mississippi. At one time, it was a booming town, and as many know, it was just a few votes short, some say 3, of becoming the state capital.
Most of the current residents of Rodney reside here in the Rodney Cemetery up on the hill behind the nearly 190-year-old Rodney Presbyterian Church, with the exception of about 10 living souls who found refuge away from the annual Mississippi River floods, which have decimated much of what had hung on at Rodney over the last 10 years. But it's in the cemetery that signs of life are coming back. This is Cleanup Day, the second such cleanup held by the Rodney History and Preservation Society. A year ago, this hilltop was a jungle populated by rattlesnakes. But because of determined cleanup, the old town is starting to emerge again. And it's here also that the newest set of unofficial citizens of Rodney get to meet face to face after having gotten to know each other on Facebook.
It's a ghost town, so how did we get here? We got here by social media and Facebook. This is how we got here, because when you have a ghost town, you got to build a community. And even today up in the cemetery, we have people from Alabama, we have people from Tennessee, we have people from all over Mississippi.
Mary Palin herself is all the way from Arizona. Her grandfather was the last full-time minister at the Presbyterian Church before it disbanded in the mid-20th century. A church building, by the way, that also shows signs of life. An emergency buttress has been put up that will preserve the building until it can be restored. Rodney has been diminished by floods and fire and yellow fever, and then being bypassed by the railroad and the main highway, all the tangibles, but it may be coming back together again by bonding through social media, the biggest intangible of our age, birthing this new community phenomenon in one of Mississippi's oldest places.
Oh, fencing is beautiful.
Oh, it is. I think that's fascinating. These people all got together on Facebook and decided, hey, let's go save Rodney.
From all over. She's from Arizona.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she had roots there with that.
I think maybe a lot of people have roots, and some of the other people have, they just like history. So, and by the way, if you would like to be a Rodney unofficial citizen, you can join that Facebook page. You can learn some neat history all at the same time and keep up with that preservation that's going on in Rodney. Search for Rodney History and Preservation Society on Facebook, then click and join the page. Then you too can be a citizen of Rodney. We just can't vote.
The new Rodney.
The new Rodney.
Yeah, all right. Sounds pretty cool.
Thank you, Walt.
Thanks.